telling you, no punch. He couldn't hit. He's swinging like a sissy. He's missing. Let me see you, boss. I haven't started dancing yet. But tremendous hurt. Sensational first down, and Curtis gets hurt. Curtis got stunned. Echo was stunned early in the round. Great first round. Incredible. Perhaps one of the best in middleweight history. Hey, that black guy, he hit hard. Bang, 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 bang. Fire. Y'all the Mongo.
What's going on, Boxing Public? Sorry, a little bit for a late start here. I'm still wrapping up actually a little bit of the ESPN's headliner here for at least for their, I guess you can call it Friday night fights. That's always good to have back a little, at least for the sake of nostalgia here. Just gonna have a not really I should say substantive episode here. Really just the announcement of Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Miller's officially announcing their anticipated. Well, we'll debate really if this is anticipated or not. But they have officially sealed the deal here for a date and location. Will be here in the United States. More about that in a moment. Also, Gervonta Davis. And again, this is going to be, obviously hearing if you're already seeing the results over the weekend, not much really here to talk about. Even the main fights that were at least worth highlighting were still handled pretty shortly here. Gervonta Davis handled Hugo Ruiz. Wasn't necessarily deemed a major threat, but even still disappointed they're getting knocked out in the first round. We'll subtly review that as well. But on to the big news really for the main podcast again was Anthony Joshua's big announcement fight. Will be fighting Jarrell Miller. He'll be defending his IBF, IBO, WBA, and WBO. I think I already said WBO, sorry. But yeah, pretty much all of his titles. You guys know he's pretty much the undisputed championship, just missing that WBC championship, which Deontay Wilder is holding. He'll be defending for the first time in New York City, Madison Square Garden, promoted by Matchroom Boxing's Eddie Hearn, Matchroom USA, I'm sorry. And he'll be fighting again, Jarrell Miller, 23-0, fellow Matchroom promoter, or at least what's even the term there? I guess under the same promoter banner, at least with Eddie Hearn. So in-house fight here. Not many people really excited or happy, really, I guess to say, is the main takeaway. But I mean, it's pretty much been talked about and rumored for weeks now. I feel like at least well over a month at this point. So even when it was first finally announced, it wasn't really that big of news. So, but I mean, of course, it's always fun to still review the boxing grips because it's pretty much just getting the same. It's pretty much getting the same, I guess, reaction, and just, I know, maybe just having it prolonged and then finally could just pretty much keeping it going. If you were not really big on Anthony Joshua, you were going to shit on this fight anyway. If you were partial to him, didn't really care for him, but still maybe a bigger fan of someone else, you still were probably not big on this either. Or even if you're just a casual, probably not big of it. Even as an Anthony Joshua supporter, which I guess I can let myself into that. Pretty decent follower. I like to see him progress and see him do well. He's one of my favorites of the heavyweight division. Are you necessarily satisfied with the fact that this is taking place? I gotta say, considering the circumstance, considering the environment here, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder looking to square away for their rematch. Luis Ortiz is already locked in on the Lara undercard. And again, considering the or at least the landscape here, Jarrell Miller's not really that bad of a fight to at least get set up. Now, if you're at least the reason, more or less, to deter, at least deterrent on this fight really if anything, is the skill set of Gerald Miller, and what does he even bring into this in the first place? And the other is also, I mean, at least if you're not too big on this fight, which you can really anticipate to at the very least, is at least hoping a good outing from Anthony Joshua. But I am more in the team of actually defending this. Again, I'm not even big on this opponent at all. I don't think much of Gerald Miller. Okay. Just to be honest, I don't see him even really much as a power puncher. He has decent speed for a big guy. Actually, I feel like that maybe his main advantage is probably his decent speed. And again, it's not overwhelming speed that puts him above and beyond in leagues and bounds beyond his peers. I don't see that really much with him. And his boxing IQ, I mean, is fair, really. So there's nothing necessarily that stands out. He kind of gets by just on sheer volume for me off his knockouts. So that being said, if you're Team Joshua, this is a pretty good lineup. And I mean, I guess maybe for that reason, that's why you don't like it if you're an Anthony Joshua detractor. But again, you're always going to be against it, and you're always going to shit on the opponent regardless. So again, your feelings on this kind of really don't fucking matter. So you can just, still hate on it. You're probably still going to tune in. So how foolish do you look? I mean, I run into these guys a lot on the groups, and they just berate. And I'm like, you're still going to watch it, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I was like, well, then whether the promotion or not does its job or not, I mean, you pretty much are still going to watch. It can still be a shit fight. You're still going to watch. So I mean, for the sake of really just entertainment's sake, I mean, it can still fare out pretty well. So let's hold the horses and hold all the popcorn and all the tomatoes being thrown before really giving this a bunch of shit, because considering he's actually still considered a top 10 heavyweight as well internationally. So you got to give him at least some form of due there. And even if you don't think he is all that he, at least that he's earned to this point to even earn that ranking in the first place, at least with this being taken care of, he now gets knocked back and gets someone else into play who at least deserves it. So either way, business is being handled here. You can't just, shit entirely for this. Now, I know the other people who, again, now these are still detractors of just this individual guy anyway. So along with this fight comes with the, again, this is at least being the debut for Anthony Joshua fighting in the United States. He'll be fighting in Madison Square Garden. Which it's a hell of a way to make a debut, right? I believe following his at least his predecessors like Prince Nassim Hamed, I believe, did the same thing with Kevin Kelly back in '95. Epic fight that was. If you guys ever get a chance to YouTube some good fights, that's a great fight to watch. A lot of fun. But yes, now with that, there's people who are saying, oh well, all of a sudden now he's a hypocrite because he's now fighting in the United States with Jarrell Miller here instead of Deontay Wilder, which he said he needed to build up for and things like that. Now, considering this is a title defense here for Anthony Joshua, not a unification fight. Not the end-all be-all of who's crowning the heavyweight champion. This is really for Anthony Joshua to grow his brand. So for anyone who is expecting at least this fight between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, realistically had to see at least one fight that Anthony Joshua was going to take in the United States with it not being Deontay Wilder. You realistically had to have seen that coming. If any point in time, if you even see in the foreseeable future for Deontay Wilder to even get a shot to have the fight here in the United States, Anthony Joshua would at least need to have one fight here. So if you're just saying that just for the sake of Anthony Joshua being a hypocrite, then, I mean, yeah, so for the sake of at least getting this fight to work out and at least being as lucrative as possible, call it what you want. But it's making sense. And it's pretty much consistent, really, with their behaviors. They've always made money moves. And you guys know how I feel about it. Fuck the money. The legacy will always bring the money along. You just do, we'll do the noble thing here, do or what Chris Eubank calls the Warriors Code, and just, fight for your legacy. But, again, this would have logistically been the right move regardless, for really for both parties too. Even if Anthony Joshua still in the end gets this fight, gets the unification fight to go, go back over to the O2 Arena or even Wembley possibly, which most likely, I guess that's more likely where that would be, then at least there's going to be some solid pay-per-view buys here at least, because it's going to be pay-per-view here anyway. We were going to get the pay-per-view fight, whether it was going to here or not. So, again, this is all growth. Again, anyone who plans on seeing or at least anticipates the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight has to be okay with this fight. You don't got to love it, but you at least got to be okay with it. At least okay with it. Because it gets you closer to what we all want. Bit by bit, incremental. And plus, it's a lot bigger than this. It's the zone, It was almost required. And I honestly feel like that was really going to be a majority really of this podcast, was really just kind of trying to, I don't know, it feels like I'm almost trying to talk anyone into this, at least to watch it. I don't feel like it really it needs to. It sells on its own. Anthony fucking Joshua in the United States. That's your opportunity. If you're in the Northeast, I think all of us, pretty much all of my boxing buddies, we all, once we, got the notice that this was coming to Madison Square, all of us in the tri-state area, up and down the East Coast even, were, hey, you're going to this fight. Like, hell yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get up in there. Get up to my friends, possibly even in the UK, trying to head over here just for that fight. So I want to say just for that fight. It's Anthony Joshua, so of course he was going to bring the homies along. Sorry, actually, I'm looking at this fight too. It's in the 11th round here. Brandt is piecing this dude up. I wish I could say his last name. Bayous guy, something, whatever. He's getting teed up though, so I guess it doesn't even matter, really. But at least this was one of the picks actually I had in one of my prediction weeks. So I'm actually glad this is going to be a victory for me. First time I'm doing that. I don't really do it too much. And of course, Gervonta Davis wraps up. I'm just going to go over this briefly. Hugo Ruiz goes down off a delayed really reaction after it looks like a right hook to the whatever. I don't know. Seemed glazing. I don't even believe it actually landed clean. But he went down. Oh, and that's the stoppage. He gets the stoppage. I got to check my league. All right. But anyway, Brandt gets the stoppage in the 11th round, by the way, for anyone who's watching the fight on ESPN. Or at least if you're watching this live, in retrospect, you're at least now knowing at least what time frame that we're airing this. And if you plan on watching, anyone who's watching in the future right now, always 11 o'clock, or at least 11:30 on Fridays, Eastern Standard Time. And if you don't know at least what time zone that is compared to you, just look it up. You got Google. Yes, Ruiz. I think we all knew we were going to be disappointed. We're at least not disappointed, but we weren't expecting a great showing from this guy. And he pretty much gave that that opponent expectation really just came up, showed up, took the hardest punch so far in the round, and just went down, and that was it. And only real worthy thing really out of this whole weekend, at least in regards to the fight, was the fact that Gervonta Davis actually came in heavy again for weigh-in, and needed an additional 2 hours to lose weight. Clearly, he needs to move up to 135, and needs to start facing some of the tougher guys up there, because clearly these events, these aren't going to hold over for long. After a while, we get it. You have potential. Like, the potential shows only to a certain extent. We need to see what that actually can unfold and actually do. You know what I mean? And the unfortunate thing about it with him in the need now to move up is that he didn't even face the necessarily the best in that division. He never even looked in the direction of Burchell. And I would have loved to have seen that fight. And now he's about to go up where it is inevitable to fight Lomachenko. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's got to be the dude. And you know who else isn't? If you're not into that, if you're not into, facing the best, or at least the champion, because he's got at least about 3 of those belts there at 135. It's then Mikey Garcia. So, we really gotta just, and I feel like this is going to be a tough issue for Floyd Mayweather, because, and you can already see it, they're actually talking ridiculously about having him fight the Japanese dude that Floyd Mayweather just beat in what, a minute and a half over in Japan. They were seriously talking about that. The worst part about it is that, Floyd, comes again, taking over, almost, just clearly just not letting Gervonta talk, which again can sometimes help and hurt, considering that he probably has about the word count of maybe about 35, at least in vocabulary. He really does not have, he's not that eloquent at all. But still, man, this guy literally almost, there was a little bit of back and forth. I remember debating a few fellows on here on the pod about him moving back to DC, when if it was best for him to move away from Floyd Mayweather, if it was too distracting. But it just seems like these two are inevitably all at some point going to clash. They can pair it up, but they're going to clash at some point, and this isn't going to last that long. Floyd Mayweather could either be the demise of Gervonta Davis, or Gervonta Davis will eventually leave Floyd Mayweather, and at least from Floyd Mayweather, it won't be a huge jump. He'll at least go to, he'll still be PBC. He'll go to Al Heyman maybe. Or is that too much of a betrayal? I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's like, in terms of a drama episode now. The betrayal. Al Heyman, how could you? Yeah, I don't know. I guess that could work out, but he's got to go, because he's got to have a say. He's got to have a say in this division. He's got to have a say for his career. But he's, it's up to him. He's got to know when to put his foot down. I thought we were maybe seeing that when he chose to pick his camp, but Floyd won, and now he at least at this point continues to win. But Gervonta's, he has to. I'm just beyond the point of seeing these ridiculously overmatched fights. And shout out to Erickson Lubin, by the way, who knocked Ishe Smith the fuck out. Good look on that one, first round. I told y'all, man, he's fucking garbage. He's fucking garbage. Ishe Smith talked A-side shit for a long time, and this is all of that coming home to roost. So anybody who follows me on the Ring IQ page and for some it just happens to ask, you're like, yo, you kind of went on him. It's because it's due for him. That dude talk epic shit, and I am so glad he's getting his ass whooped now. I mean, I don't have to say like it. I'm waiting for his downfall and shit like that because he's garbage on its own. It's just the fact that he talks so much shit for being garbage. So it's like now you just need to. It's almost you just need a rolling reminder just how fucking garbage you are, so you can shut the fuck up once in a while. So again, shout out to Erickson Luber for that first round knockout. I appreciate that. Good luck, and I'm glad to see you doing your thing again, man. It's a damn shame, man, that this fight actually, by the way, was on the unaired undercard. I actually had just because I happened to miss this, I thought this was going to air, on the actual Showtime. No, this was being aired on YouTube, I think. And it wasn't even with the actual like side by camera. They had some just overhead camera running the thing. It was extremely disappointing. But we'll maybe look into some better fights this weekend. Got a few low-level fights, nothing necessarily really standing out over this weekend. We'll get the coming scheduled fights over the weekend. Let's see, what's this weekend coming up? Is the 16th is tomorrow. Yes, that's right. Yeah, so Leo Santa Cruz against Rivera. I did forget about that fight. And again, we just had Brandt just take care of that Bison Grove, whoever the hell. So again, not much. But again, oh, snap. Brandon Rios is fighting again. Humberto Soto. Wow. They're really digging him up these days. These are just some of the hole-in-the-wall places that are really still just showing fights. I'm just looking through here. But, of course, we'll still be here next week to review it all. Looks like we're coming down to an end for today. Definitely glad you can join me again for another night of Boxing Talk. Comment below if you have any questions or suggestions. Please subscribe, show your friends. And we'll talk again next week. Absolutely use that chat so we can at least have some live debate during the podcast too. All right. Hope you guys enjoy your night. Take care.